In the like 13 years of me being with my husband, we haven't been married that long, just dating and being together, I have only ever made him one sweater, and it was a while ago. It was a Tunisian crochet sweater, and it wasn't that great. It wasn't my best work, to be honest with you. And we were out the other day and he saw this guy wearing this really nice wool sweater, and he was like, you should make me like a nice wool sweater like that. And I was like, you're right, I should make you a sweater and stop making myself so many sweaters because I'm running out of room in my closet. So that's what we're gonna be doing in this video. Hello everyone, my name is Hunter May. I'm the owner of May Crochets. We're gonna be making my husband a knit sweater. My goal for this sweater is to make a very just basic knit raglan sweater. I'm gonna be using my Universal Raglan sweater pattern. I'll talk about that more in this video. And then I'm also going to be using this yarn that Universal Yarn sent me, the Deluxe worsted Superwash, and more on them later as well. You may have noticed I am sitting by a tree and it's fall. This is at my parents' house and they have the most beautiful tree here. Last year I got some pictures here and I've been counting down the days that this tree looks this pretty again. And it's here, the day is here. So I decided this would be the perfect place to start my gauge swatch for this sweater. Now is the time that I talk about how important a gauge swatch is. I know it just seems like a lot of work and we don't want to do a gauge swatch. We just want to get right into the project. But I want to make sure that this sweater fits my husband absolutely perfectly, that he's actually going to wear it because it fits him so well. And to do so, you need to make a gauge swatch to make sure that it's the right size. One common misconception that people think is that a gauge swatch is a waste of yarn. When you make a gauge swatch, you don't have to fasten off your yarn. You don't have to cut it. You can make the gauge swatch, lock it with your skein still attached, and then once you get the measurements done, you can take it apart and then use it for your project. There's nothing saying that you have to cut your yarn and keep your swatch forever. There's no really reason to do that. So don't worry about the wasted yarn because you're not wasting yarn. You're definitely spending extra time, but I wouldn't say your time is wasted by any means.
Your hands are getting cold.
Okay, so length for your one sweater is right here.
Yeah, that's not bad.
But so keep it with the crew neck. Okay. Okay, that's all I need from you. My gauge is fully done being blocked, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this gauge here. I actually made a gauge in the round because a raglan is made, you know, in the round. Making a gauge in the round versus working back and forth, like turning, doing a purl row and back and forth, can change your gauge quite a bit. This is actually my very first gauge that I've ever done in the round. There are two different ways you can do it. So you can knit across and then put it back to your other needle. You carry this piece of yarn over here and then you start again. So you have like floats on the back. But I found this video talking about this way where you don't have floats in the back. You have all these like end pieces on the side. So it looks a little weird here, but it makes it so you don't have floats and it has better chance of blocking width-wise just because you don't have potentially tight floats. I'm going to be using my Universal Raglan sweater pattern for this. This pattern is a really cool pattern. So it's an interactive PDF. So you can actually type in the exact body measurements that you are making the pattern for. You can type in the exact gauge that you have as well. And then you can also customize things like the ribbing as well as the ease. And for the ease of this pattern, I actually had my husband pick out a crew neck that he really likes the fit of, and I measured that against his body measurements and was able to find the ease of that garment. And then that is the ease that I'm going to apply to the sweater for this this pattern. So I'm gonna briefly show you how you can edit the PDF with everything I said to get the pattern for this sweater. Here is my Raglan sweater pattern. With my pattern, you can fully input the body measurements. So I have my husband's measurements here, so I'm just going to input all of them in. Now we can go to the next page where we type in the ribbing lengths. I think I'm just gonna do 1.5 inches for everything. Body ease, his sweater that he liked was 2.5 inches for the body, and the sleeve ease was 3.25. And then now is the body gauge. So I have 12 stitches and 2 inches, and then I have 15 rows and 1.75 inches. And then you can also put the weight of the gauge as well, so I could actually put this gauge on a scale and actually weigh it. But because I did in the round, I have all this additional yarn that isn't really gonna help me with figuring out the weight. And then I'm going to type in the same thing for the ribbon gauge. And once that's done, in the pattern itself is going to actually tell me and calculate the exact stitches and rows that I need to do throughout the pattern, so I don't have to think very hard about this pattern, which is super exciting. So now that I have all of my calculations ready to go for this pattern, I'm going to be starting on the collar ribbing. It is time for an update. I have the collar all done. I decided to go with 2x2 ribbing just because I love how 2x2 ribbing looks like. Also, it has a great stretch, and my husband has tried this on, so I know that it fits him, which is good. And it's also a folded collar, which I think just always has such a clean finish, and I very much prefer the feel of a folded collar. Now is time to actually work on the raglan part. But before that, I'm gonna actually start with short rows. If you're not familiar with short rows are extra rows that you only add to the back of the garment to basically make the front of the collar sit lower. I think I'm gonna try German rows right off of the collar. And I've never done this before, so I'm gonna need to look up an example of how to do it. But basically when I'm done, instead of the first row making the collar look like this, it's gonna instead make it look more like this because there's gonna be rows added to the back that are basically in line with the collar. I'm gonna go try to figure out short rows. I am back from doing German short rows. So here's the back of the sweater, and there's slowly not rows over here, but there's rows added to the back here. So if you put the cord of the needles together, it shows that the back is higher than the front. I am now gonna start on the Raglan Increases, where I'm gonna just be able to start going, and I'm excited about it. Hey everyone, I just wanted to give an update on my sweater. I am just working on the Raglan Increases. It's going around and around. I am about halfway done with the raglan. Here is kind of what it's looking like. You can see the raglan seam here and the short rows making the collar in the back a lot higher. I'm really excited about it. I think it's turning out so good. The yarn is feeling very nice, so I am super excited. It's been a really cozy project to work on. While I am finishing up my raglan here, I wanted to talk a little bit about my thoughts on this yarn. Universal Yarn gifted me all of this yarn for the sweater in exchange for me to give you guys my opinion on their yarn. And the yarn that I specifically asked for is this Deluxe worsted Superwash, and this is in the color Pulp. The very first thing that I noticed about this yarn is that the skeins are actually a really great size. So you're getting 218 yards of yarn within one skein. And I honestly thought, looking at the picture, that it was gonna come a lot smaller, so I was happily surprised when I saw how big each skein is. And honestly, the yarn feels so nice to work with. I am not a huge fan of like scratchy wools. On a scale of 10 being like the scratchiest wool you've ever felt, and 1 being like buttery soft, like basically acrylic yarn, I would say that this yarn is ranked on maybe like a 3. It's definitely not the softest yarn I've ever felt, you know, but it's definitely not really scratchy. I really, really like the texture of this because it has really nice structure to it. And the color is exactly what I expected it to be. I just went with this cream color just for a basic yarn, so nothing super crazy. Working with the yarn, it's been really great, no issues. It slides on my needles super nicely. I'm actually using wooden needles to work with this yarn. It works really great. Everything slides perfectly. One thing I did notice about this yarn, which was actually a bonus for me, I saw that it was a weight 4 yarn, and I tend to go for more DK weight yarn, so weight 3 when I make sweaters and things. I was happily surprised when I started working on it that it gets so much smaller than I would think a weight 4 would get. It was actually a big pro for me, but if you're someone that likes more the thicker weight 4 yarn and you order this, it's gonna be a little bit thinner. So if you prefer thinner yarns, great. If you would like more of a weight 4, it is on the thinner side. The drape of the yarn, I guess with knitting, is super great. Have no issues there. And also the definition of the stitches, I think look really good with the yarn. And the yarn just has general like good elasticity. So like if you stretch it, it's gonna bounce right back. This is also a superwash wool, which honestly, I've never really worked with or known what that meant. So I started researching about what is superwash wool, and apparently it means I could actually put this in the washer, which is crazy to me, and it feels like it's really scary and I'm not sure about it. Essentially, the superwash allows it to be washed because they put like an extra coating over the yarn. Obviously, you still can't dry it, do not dry it, but it does make it be able to go in the washer, which is really exciting, and I think that's gonna be really nice for my husband wearing the sweater. Yeah, so overall, I really like this yarn. I'm definitely not someone who is like a yarn snob or like gets super obsessed with yarn. I definitely have yarn that I prefer and yarn that I don't prefer, but I'm never like, this is amazing yarn. I just kind of expect a certain quality of yarn, and this definitely meets those expectations. So I have no issues with it, but if I don't seem excited, that's just because I never get excited. That is my take on this specific Universal yarn. I'm excited to try more of their yarn in the future. The worst thing just happened. My needle broke. I've been kind of struggling because this yoke is really big and my cord is very small. And it just broke. This is so sad. Why do bad things happen to good people? Shoot. Well, I need to process. Crisis averted. So a few years ago, I was making a pair of socks and I thought it'd be a good idea to try the sock on while I was working on it. I put my foot and stepped on the needle and snapped it in half. I contacted the knitting needle brand and they sent me some new ones. So I had an extra one that I didn't break. This is the right size. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This worked out really well, actually. I made my cord that much bigger now. The tension was so intense on the cord because the cord was not big enough that the needles broke. So there's your tip in making sure you have a long enough cord because bad things can happen. That's never happened to me before. That is crazy. I'm literally almost done with the yoke too. I'm like, please. I'm like 3 or 4 rows left until the yoke is done. I'm so happy I have this extra needle. Oh my gosh. Everything worked out so well. Obviously it wouldn't be rolling like this, so ignore that.
Yeah.
So this will be about like where the separation will be, so like the depth of the armpit.
Okay.
Yeah, yay, I'm so excited. So like this goes like here. Hold that down. Look good?
Yeah, good job.
Nice, I think that looks good. Sweet. Yeah, I think that looks good. Yay!
Okay.
I'm excited.
All tied up.
Okay, thanks. It's been a while since I've updated you guys. Quite a while, actually. I just felt like you probably didn't want to see me just sitting there knitting, so I didn't film any of it. But I worked a little bit on the body, decided that that was really boring, and decided that I wanted to start on the sleeves instead. I made one sleeve, and it wasn't right. It was way too big. So I completely took it apart, redid it. It fit a lot better on him. And I worked on the second sleeve. Now I'm working on the body a little bit more, but as I was working on it, I was like, I kind of just want to block it mid-project just to make sure that it's gonna be the length that he wants it and everything. So that is what I'm doing right now. I didn't pin it right now. I just kind of like stretched it to generally the size that I'm wanting it to be and measured everything, and all's looking good. My stitch and row count on the gauge were a little off. Okay, so that was one of the reasons my like sleeve was completely wrong. So this body like across is a lot bigger than what I wanted it to be. But you know what? I decided I'm not gonna change it. Also, the Raglan seam is a lot longer as well because of that. So once this is done blocking, I'm gonna have him try it on. I'll show you guys what that looks like, and then keep working on the length, the boring part where it's just around and around on the body until it's the length that he is wanting it to be. Do the ribbing, and then we will be officially done, and I'm excited. It feels a lot better. Do the sleeves feel nicer? Thoughts?
Yeah, feels good.
Yay! I think lengthwise, it's gonna end up being like here.
It's not a crop top.
No. I can stop there if you want. Yay! Yeah, it looks so much better. So the wrists and stuff feel nice with it being tight-ish.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay. Interesting because you can see exactly where I was at when I blocked it before, but now I just need to block this little bottom here and we will be officially done.
I see threads.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I haven't leave those in yet. I'll leave them in. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it looks good.
Yeah? Does it fit good?
Yeah, it feels good. It's trying to see. Oh yeah, this is tight. Yeah, I don't like when sweaters are like really wide.
It looks really nice with the flow of being blocked. Do you like the length of it and everything? Mm-hmm. It looks really good.
Yeah.
Yay. Smile. Not like that. Not like that. If you are interested in trying out Universal's yarn yourself, or you want to make your own Universal Raglan sweater, you can check out both of those links down below in the description. Thank you so much, Universal Yarn, for sending me all this yarn for this sweater. Super kind, and I'm so excited I was able to get a super nice wool for my husband's sweater.
I wish I could leave my skin behind in this old rented room, float my way across the great divide and be buried